Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you have watched part 1, then you already know what I'm gonna say. Welcome to part 2 of my eyeshadow palette collection and declutter. I'm not gonna waste any time. I'm just gonna dive in because I have a buttload of palettes to still go through. And I'm actually gonna start with Makeup Revolution first. And I have several palettes from the brand that I do really like. The first one here is the palette called Affirmation. And as you can see, these are all shimmer and matte shadows. I really do like it. I've actually gotten some decent use out of this palette. So I am going to hang on to it for one of those rainy days. The sister palette to that is this one right here called Flawless Matte. And as much as I love a good matte and the creaminess of this formula, these colors just don't do it for me anymore. So I'm going to be savage and donate this one. There's also the palette called Unicorns Unite as the brush falls down. This one is pretty fun, cool, bright colors like the formula, hanging on to it. The next palette is called Girls on Film, and as much as I like the colors that are in here, they are more on the smoky side. The formula is beautiful, love using it, but since I bought it, I never used it, and rather than just having it collect dust in my drawers, I know someone else is gonna get more use out of it, so I am going to donate this one too. One of my Makeup Revolution palettes that I will not be donating is this one right here. This is called Neutrals versus Neutrals, and I did do a full review on this. I thought it was a great dupe for the Modern Renaissance palette. Love these colors, still use them quite frequently, so hanging on to this one. This time around, I did try to separate out my palettes according to brands, so I think it's going to be a little more cohesive than the first one. I am going to move over to BH Cosmetics next, and I've got several palettes from the brand. This one here is called the Bee by Bubs Beauty. It is a nice palette, really cool looking colors, purples, bronzes, some golds in here, but I don't reach for this palette. So as much as I love these colors, I am going to go ahead and donate this one. I also have two palettes from the Ashley Tisdale Illuminate collection, and I bought these, never used them. This one here is legit brand new, never touched. I just peeled off the screen protector, and since I haven't touched it, I am just gonna go ahead and donate this one. I feel really bad doing so because I like the color schemes here, but there are other palettes that I reach for. Same goes for this one here. This is the one called Beach Goddess. Again, beautiful colors, but I just don't reach for it. I have a few more BH palettes left, and one of them is the Take Me to Brazil palette. This is one I will certainly not be parting with just because I love these bright colors. They're just so beautiful, so much fun to work with. Apologies for my light going in and out. That's kind of weird. I also love my Carly Bible palettes. This here is the original with her original colors, and then she came out with a deluxe version that had more highlighters and a couple of blush shades to it. Love both of these palettes, can't part with them, still like to use them pretty regularly. Let's take a quick trip over to Lorac because I also have several Lorac palettes. This does happen to be one of my favorite brands for eyeshadow palettes. These usually end up being my ride or dies, and I don't think I'll be getting rid of any of these, but who knows, who knows. The first one that I have here is the Lorac Unzipped Gold palette. Do you really think I'd get rid of this one? I also have the original Lorac Unzipped palette. This one is equally beautiful, can't get rid of it. I did do a full review on the next few palettes that I'm going to talk about. They did come in individual reviews over this past summer, I believe, and these were part of the California collection that Lorac released. I've got this unzipped palette here called Ocean Sunset. Still love it. As you can see, I've gotten lots of use out of it. It is pretty beaten up, but I cannot part with that one. There's also the Desert Sunset palette, which is equally beautiful. Love these colors, and I still reach for this palette actually pretty frequently too. As you know, I hated the Downtown LA mini palette, but I loved the Venice Beach palette. This is pretty, great colors in here, still hanging on to it. I can't remember what this palette was called, but you can see it's got this beautiful sort of butterfly and beach theme to it. The colors are equally gorgeous in here. I'm gonna hang on to it because because, well, it's Lorac and I love these colors. I do have all three of the original Lorac Pro palettes and I love them all equally. I can't part with them. This one here is number 1, the good old faithful original. Some really good staple colors in there. I got I think this was number 2. Again, beautiful colors. Love this navy blue over here. Some nice neutrals, great shimmers. And the third one, oh my goodness, look at how pretty this is. Love all of these colors. They're a little warmer toned in nature, but they just look gorgeous on the eyes. I can't remember why I bought the Getaway palette from Lorac. I think I had found this at a Nordstrom rack and it was super cheap, so I picked it up, but these colors really don't call to me. I don't think I've ever really used this except for swatching purposes, so, ooh, I'm gonna donate this one. I never thought I'd say that about a Lorac palette, but yeah, I'm gonna donate it. And finally, I have one of my Mega Pro palettes. I am ride or die for this one. I've gotten such good use out of it. I know they keep coming out with new ones. I can't wait to see what the 2018 one looks like. I will definitely be on the wait list for that, but these ones here are just so good to have on hand. I have a few drugstore palettes that are sitting in front of me right now. In part 1, I did talk about some of these mini palettes from Wet n Wild. I have these 2 new ones here. One is called Walking on Eggshells and the other one is called Hooked on Vinyl. These names are so cute. I haven't dug into them, still gonna hang on to them. In the last video, I showed you the Not a Basic Peach palette. I also picked up the other 2 that they came out with. This one here is called Rosé in the Air, and then I've also got Comfort Zone. That's the other one. Both of these palettes are beautiful, and this one here in particular is another great dupe for the Modern Renaissance palette. Have yet to play with them, hanging on to them. And then my first Wet n Wild palette soiree was this one here. It's called Nude Awakening. Really, really love the colors in here. It is one that I've used a few times, but I don't think I reach for very frequently now. But because of the nature of these colors, I don't want to let it go. And I think that palette is actually very complementary to these 2 Rimmel palettes that I have. Again, in the first one, I showed you the colorful one, and here are the more neutral ones, which I really enjoy using. These are also really good dupes for the Urban Decay Naked palettes. Up next are a couple of palettes from Fiona Styles. I did pick up this one here, which was on sale. Ugh, again, stupid brush. There's 2 of them, get rid of both of them. I never used it. I bought it, came in the mail, never used it. So I am going to donate it. I think the reason I picked that one up is because the colors were just so different from any other palette that I had, but if I'm not reaching for it, then what's it doing in my drawers? The other Fiona Styles palette that I did do a full review on, and I'll link it in the description box below, is this one here. It is the Artist palette, and of course it has lots of really nice cool tones in there, so they're definitely more on the purple side. You know how I feel about a good purple, so I am hanging on to it. Oh! I forgot I had this one. This is the Monarch palette from Kat Von D. I haven't seen this one in a while. Mind you, it looks pretty new as well, so clearly I don't use it very much, but I really like the colors in here. Very basic, especially if you want to do more of a toned down look. I do have quite a few more Tarte palettes, the first one being the Tartelette in Bloom palette, which I love and I used so much when I first bought it. Can't get rid of this one. Also bought the Toasted palette when that one first came out. Love the warm tones that this palette has. I still use it and oh, it just smells so good. I did purchase this Rainforest of the Sea eyeshadow palette when it first came out. As much as I like the eyeshadow formula of this palette, the colors wear nicely. There's no issue with them. I don't know. I don't reach for this palette. And the other thing that bugs me is that it's in a circle shape. Like, how do I store this? Where do I put it? So unfortunately, this one I am going to give away. I think someone else is going to really enjoy that one. You guys know I don't like a circle shaped palette very much, but I've got this one here. It's called the Make Believe in Yourself palette. And this was sent to me by a very good YouTube friend of mine. Her name is Haven. She has her own channel called Makeup Haven. I'm gonna link it in the description box below for you. And she sent me this as a thank you gift for being a subscriber and for supporting her throughout her Instagram journey and her YouTube journey. It was the sweetest thing, and I remember when I got her package, I bawled my eyes out because I was so emotional. She did send me a couple of other items, but this palette here, oh, I love it. I love these colors. They're so pretty, and yeah. This one is staying close to my heart. My little Tarte Pro To Go palette is just such a good staple. If I'm ever in a rush, I do like throwing this in my purse, and I use it for touch-ups. I also love my little Man Eater palette. I think it is just so cute. Love the colors in here, and leopard print gets me every single time. And I think the last Tarte palette that I have is this gigantic one here. It is from one of their holiday collections. I can't remember which one, but I think I did give away one of these in my first year as a YouTuber, so maybe this is 2 years old now. I haven't touched any of these colors. I've just swatched a couple. You can also see some of the face colors down here. The bronzers, highlighters, and blush has remained untouched. They're beautiful colors, and I kind of keep this on hand in case I ever need any of these particular shades, but I don't reach for it, and I just don't have the heart to give this one away, so I'm hanging on to it. Oh my god, my Marc Jacobs palette. This was from a holiday collection 2 years ago, and I love these colors. They're so pretty. This one is called About Last Night. I do pull this out on occasion, not as frequently as I would like, but this is gonna stay in my collection. I recently talked about this Suva Beauty palette in one of my videos about bright and bold eyeshadow palettes. Cupcakes and Monsters is such a fun palette. There is no way I would give this away. These colors are unfreaking real. I love them to pieces, and I am always shocked every time I swatch them and use them at how pigmented they are and how gigantic the pan size is. I do have a few palettes from Colourpop as well. There's the Dream Street palette from Kathleen Lights, which I like and I reach for regularly. I'm hanging on to that. There's the Golden State of Mind, which I did pick up from the holiday collection that was released, I think, in November on Sephora. Love these shimmers. They're so beautiful, and of course I'm gonna hang on to this. I also have the Give It To Me Straight palette. This one here, oh, the colors, oh my god. It actually reminds me a lot of the Visionary palette from Pure Cosmetics, but this one was cheaper. And then there's the cutest little My Little Pony palette. Love how bright these colors are. They're just so different, so this one is definitely staying in my collection too. Let's talk Essence, because I have several palettes from Essence Cosmetics. I have 3 eye and face palettes, and one of them is called Be Kissed by the Moon. It's this cute little holographic palette. I shouldn't say holographic, iridescent palette. I use this as a dupe for the NARS Danger Control palette. And then I have 2 of the regular eye and face palettes here. So this one here is called Glow For It, and this one over here is called Rise and Shine. They're both beautiful. I actually reach for these quite regularly, especially for the blushes. I find them to be really, really nice. And what remains are 6 color themed palettes. The first one is actually a new release. This is the All About Toffee palette, and of course you've got toffee colored eyeshadows in here. There's the vintage colored one, which is equally beautiful. Love the greens in here, really great pigment. And mind you, I did a full review on all of these palettes. I'll link that in the description box below for you if you're interested in watching it. There's of course the Roses palette. I've got the Grays palette, which isn't one that I really reach for. So honestly, I'm gonna donate this one. There's the Nudes palette, which, oh, you know these colors are right up my alley. And of course, the Bronze palette. This one here is up my alley as well. I have two palettes from Viseart, my Neutral Matte and my Dark Matte palettes. These ones are staples in my collection. They ain't going nowhere. I've also got a few Anastasia palettes. I already showed you the Soft Glam palette, but of course, I still have the Prism palette, which you guys saw I did a review and tutorial on. The Modern Renaissance palette, which seems to be a staple in almost everyone's collection, so that's not going anywhere. And of course, my Master palette by Mario, which, oh, this is one of my go-to palettes. If I don't really know what kind of look I want to do, I go straight for this and I am usually satisfied. I did pick up a Stila eyeshadow palette. This one is called the Matte and Metal palette. I picked it up a while ago and I think I talked about this in new makeup releases from Stila. It wasn't really that popular amongst beauty influencers, but I really enjoyed the formula. I loved how creamy these colors were. I like how they all wore. I never really had any issues with them. Sorry for, you know, having some really crappy swatches there. But I don't reach for this palette, which is really unfortunate. So I am tentatively gonna hang on to this. The next palette I have is from Makeup Forever. This was part of their 2017 holiday collection and it's just called the Lustrous Eyeshadow Palette. And the reason I picked it up is because this includes a bunch of their reformulated eyeshadows, and I did want to try a variety of the mattes and some of the foiled or shimmer shadows, so that's why I picked it up, and it's gonna stay in my collection because it's also Makeup Forever. And finally, I've got the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Edition eyeshadow palette. This isn't my favorite. I think I've talked about this a couple of times. I'm not a huge fan of the matte formula in particular from Huda Beauty, but I did spend a pretty penny on this and I do like the colors that are in this palette, so I'm gonna find a way to make this work and sort of incorporate it into my usual palette rotation. I can't believe I'm wrapping up another video and I still haven't talked about all of the eyeshadow palettes that I have. Stay tuned for part 3 that is going to be coming up really soon, and I am going to try to make that one a little bit shorter than part 1 and part 2. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I really hope you're enjoying watching me go through my palettes and doing a bit of a declutter. I'm not being as savage as I probably should be, but I have a lot of emotions towards some of these palettes, so I can't quite get rid of everything. I really hope you take a quick second to subscribe if you aren't already, and also hit the like button to let me know that you've enjoyed the video. It really does mean a lot to me. You can also connect with me on all of my social media. Don't forget to do that by clicking all of the links in the description box below. Thanks again for watching. I really hope you are having an amazing day no matter where you are in the world. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!